European countries and cities tend to be the safest destinations if you're planning a trip outside of your home country. As a general rule, violent crime is very low. The chance you'll encounter major criminal acts is almost non-existent. That being said, European cities have a reputation for one form of non-violent crime, which is pickpocketing. Tourist areas of major European cities see higher levels of these issues because there are so many unsuspecting targets in international tourists. Today we will discuss some of the more well-known pickpocketing schemes and ensure you know how to mitigate this risk. Hi, my name is Evan, and I've advised hundreds of travelers on their trips to destinations all over the globe in some of the toughest locations. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment any of the questions you might have down below. So to start, let's just talk about what pickpocketing actually is. It's a nonviolent form of theft that usually involves stealing money or valuables from an individual's pocket or some form of their belongings without them actually noticing it's happened. Pickpocketing can happen in various ways. Pickpockets may work as one single assailant, or it could be with a much larger group of people, ranging up to 20, 30, could be even more than that in some cases. Oftentimes they seek to create distractions before grabbing valuables from unsuspecting people. They also tend to target tourists because they are unaware of what to watch out for, and they're in a different place other than their home city, home country, things like that. They also tend to be carrying more money as a tourist as well, so that's something to think about, just because they may be carrying excess cash to pay for souvenirs or paying for going out to dinner. The country with the highest level of tourist pickpocketing is Italy, specifically in major tourist locations within Italy. So places like the Trevi Fountain and the Colosseum in Rome both report some of the highest rates of pickpocketing crimes within all of Europe. France ranks number 2 with most pickpocketing issues reported in Paris, close to the Eiffel Tower. We're going to get into some of the pickpocketing schemes a little bit later, but I would say Paris is one of the locations that I saw the most pickpocketing schemes, in most of my travels. Spain is number 3 for pickpocketing, primarily in Barcelona, which is probably the most touristy city within Spain, and mostly in the popular Las Ramblas street area, and then also close to the Sagrada Familia as well. And then Germany has a similar instance of pickpockets as Spain, especially around the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. So let's talk about a few popular pickpocketing schemes. So pickpocketers in Europe, just as a general rule, are experts at getting money and valuables off from unsuspecting tourists. It's important to know what some of these methods are, just so that you can watch out for them and avoid any issues while you're on your trip. So one of the primary ways that pickpockets will distract tourists is through some kind of commotion. So here are a few examples, right? Someone in front of you drops something, you pick it up only to have the wallet pulled from your pocket as you're distracted by someone behind you. Someone makes a big scene on public transit while others move in to pickpocket you while you're distracted, or especially when it's a really crowded train, for example, for the metro. Someone may have a big distraction, you're looking in that direction, all of a sudden someone's, pulling your wallet from your pocket. This happens quite a bit on the Paris metro, for example, and there are certain stops in the Paris metro that people tell you to be pretty careful about. Another example on public transit is when you're trying to buy public transit tickets within the station and someone offers to help you. This is usually a distraction unless that person's an employee of that public transit system. So ultimately what they're trying to do is distract you while, either they can pull money from your pocket or a valuable, or someone else can do it as well. Another popular scheme is to basically active their officials having you sign a petition. So I've seen this one time and time again in various locations, but it was especially noticeable outside the Eiffel Tower in Paris. You'll find there's a lot of people coming up to you with different petitions that are usually fake. So just keep in mind that, as you may be signing that petition, they're probably pulling money from, your wallet. And just note one more thing too. If you're in a country that doesn't speak, your native language. So for example, France is a good, example for this. If you're in France and someone's coming up to you and asking you to sign a petition in English, it's unlikely to be an official petition, obviously. There are even instances of phony police asking to see if you have any counterfeit money within your wallet. So this is a tried and true example where you should not be, providing the police money unless you are having to pay some kind of fine, right? The only example that I can think of that I've run into is, if you get a fine on public transit, they may ask for payment up front. But they're never going to ask you to pull out your wallet to examine the bills themselves. That's usually an indication that they're going to rifle through your wallet, pull a few bills while you are watching, but you don't suspect that they pulled them until after you look in your wallet. And then just note that police are never going to ask to show you money, so it's more likely they're going to ask for identification, like your passport or some other thing. Another indication of some pickpockets would be large groups of children or adults who are acting like beggars. The popular scheme is, a bunch of kids run up to you and are asking for money while you're distracted with all these kids. Ultimately, someone's pulling something from your wallet at the end of the day. You should always be aware of individuals with babies too who are asking for money. It seems crazy, but the baby is a way to distract you. And in some very extreme cases, which are not that uncommon to be honest, unfortunately, someone may throw a baby your way, so you catch it, and then someone comes up and steals your wallet out of your pocket. There are tons of other examples too, so it's always important to be wary and skeptical of things that come up while you're traveling. Obviously, you want to connect with the local people as much as possible, but when you're in those tourist areas specifically, you should really watch out for these potential schemes to come up because it's likely that they're going to result in you being pickpocketed at the end of the day. So how do you avoid pickpockets in general? The big important one for number one would be knowing and understanding what locations are popular pickpocketing spots and what are some of those popular schemes in that location too. That's going to help you look out for those things when they come up and help you, avoid those, make sure that you're holding on to your valuables at that time. Number two, keep your wallet and any valuables in a secure location. Don't flash your wallet or other valuables unless you need to. For me, I never put my wallet or phone in my back pocket because that's just asking for trouble. It's much easier grabbed without you knowing from your back pocket. And then also same thing with a backpack, right? So if you have a small pocket at the very back of your backpack that's easily accessible from the outside, that's not a good place to put any of your valuables, even though that's probably the place that it's intended to be. The safest place to put money is really a money belt. So if you're unfamiliar with those, you can buy them off from any sort of cheap website like Amazon, something like that. And it's actually just a belt with a compartment that zips up that you can put your valuables in, like money, credit cards, anything like that. It actually goes under your clothing. So ultimately, someone's not gonna be able to pickpocket you under your clothing. My personal go-to is, always have my stuff in my front pockets, not carrying a lot of cash around with me just because, you're a target. And then also if you do end up getting pickpocketed, a bunch of your money's gone. And then the last part of that would be, if I know I'm in a crowded place, if I know I'm in a touristy place, I'm shoving my hands over my valuables in my pocket if I think something's come up that looks a little suspicious. Number three is use the mobile wallet on your phone whenever possible. So if that's something that you can use, like Apple Pay, the Android equivalent, that's something that can definitely help. You're not pulling out your credit card or any sort of cash to be stolen. So just keep that in mind. And then the only other thing I would say on that is that your phone can be a target too. So it's good that you would be using that sort of form of payment, but it can still be a target. Number four, if you do need to carry a lot of cash or valuables, and this can be especially the case when you're just arriving in a place, leaving a place for your next destination, you're probably carrying all your valuables with you, multiple suitcases, a backpack, all those things. Just place, your money, if you have a lot of cash, in different parts of your luggage that are hidden, maybe a bit in your pocket, a bit in a hidden pocket within one of your luggage, something within your carry-on, just so that you're distributing the load out a little bit. And that makes it so if someone is going to pickpocket you, you still have money left over as well. That being said on that, I would say if you jump on the train and you have to leave your bag in a certain place, you want to make sure you're not leaving money in there. So just keep that all in mind when you're looking at that. So pickpocketing does present a challenge if you're traveling in Europe, but really it can be very easily mitigated against. As long as you know what you're looking for and you're smart with your money and belongings, you're not really going to have any issues. The other big thing is making sure that you don't look like a tourist, right? Just make sure that you're confident, you don't seem like you're super out of place. All those things will go and sort of lend to preventing any of these sort of issues. And then in my many times I've been to Europe and all the different countries I've been to, I've had very few issues with pickpockets. So I've had a few instances with scammers, but pickpocketing hasn't been an issue that's really come up. It's mostly because of all those precautions I've taken. So I would say, don't let this worry you. Get out and enjoy Europe, but it's just something to keep in mind before you go. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.